Hey folks, how you guys doing again? Jimmy here, and once again I'm out in the field, and today I am going to show you some of the differences between recently updated properties for older properties. Now see, that's a distinction, right? Because generally speaking, when we're talking about renovated and updated properties, as a matter of fact, I did a video not too long ago specifically about the differences between updated properties and renovated properties, and you can probably find it somewhere on the screen here. But one of the things we pointed out was that renovated properties were significantly different than when they started. Well, keeping that theme, the question, and oftentimes some of the misbeliefs that we come up with is that for a property to be renovated, it has to be renovated with really high quality. By the way, high quality means expensive building materials.
Tell them to bring me my money.
Well, that's not always the case, and today I'm going to show you an example. As you might guess, this is actually wood, and that's really cool. This part right here is HardiePlank, which ties into the wood of the majority of the house. Now, what's really cool about that is, again, this is an older house. This house is over 100 years old. So what happened is this particular area in Michigan is, they're pretty good on preserving properties. One of the things that they do is, whenever possible, they try to keep with the standard. So as opposed to having vinyl siding, which is, vinyl siding is good, but it is a newer material. And not only is it a newer material, but it just really looks different than, say, a HardiePlank that is painted. HardiePlank is more dull. Once done properly, it actually looks like wood offhand, just like the other houses are in the area. So that's one thing. The other thing, and this is one thing that's going to be true for most completely renovated properties, is the roofing. This particular roof was redone. So that is a newer roof, meaning that that more than likely that roof was stripped down to the sheeting, to the decking, the wood decking, and replaced. It's got the architectural shingles, which again is a sign that it is a newer roof. One of the other things we're talking about right here is this porch. This porch was actually rebuilt, and they used composite wood decking. Now, this is a takeaway from what we were just talking about in terms of trying to match building materials. But again, if you look at the porch itself, it matches the area. It's got a wood grain. Even though it's composite, it's wood grain, and it goes with the area. So that's a good thing. Now that we're inside of the house, here's something that's, we're gonna hit the real crux of the issue. Generally speaking, when we're talking about a renovated kitchen, we're talking about a kitchen that has been Mac Daddy. They rip out everything. They come in with the highest quality building materials, quartz countertop or very high quality granite, big farm sink, and blah, 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 blah. Well, again, this is a 100-year-old house. It has been renovated, but what they did instead is they used average quality building materials to bring it up to common standards for today. And here are some examples. So first thing you see is the countertop. Now, what you might not know is that countertop there is actually Formica. So that is particle board with a laminate top. And they have those throughout the house. The cabinets, those are standard oak cabinets that they painted. And as you can see, as I always talk about, you can tell they've got the dual sink, the dual 8-inch sink. Again, another sign that, this is not necessarily the highest quality of renovations. Is it a renovation? Yes, because all of these things were actually recently added. Is it a high-end renovation? No. There is a distinction between, say, a high-end renovation and an average renovation. In this particular example, though, it works. And it works because, again, looking at from where we're coming from, a really old house, 100 years, it was a 100-year-old house. You know what a 100-year-old house looks like, right? This house had add-ons. They made the most of it. And They just kind of made one living space throughout. The house is not as choppy as it was originally, which is a great thing, okay? So now let's take a look at the bathroom, because I think this is kind of where we really notice the distinction. As you can see, standard bathroom, again, looking at the flooring, sheet vinyl flooring. There's that Formica countertop again with the dual sinks though this time. They changed out the lighting. This bathroom, by the way, is new. You come around to the tub, you got a new tub with the new ceramic subway tile surround. Okay, that's one of the key areas, one of the key things that you can see that makes it say, wow, immediately. They really put some work in there.
Nice.
But again, I know this house was just recently renovated because, again, I talked to the realtor and they told me all the stuff that they did. So that's the bathroom. One of the other things that they did is they changed the flooring. Now, again, I have to keep stressing this. This is a 100-year-old house. Now, think about it. It's 100-year-old. It's still standing, but 100 years ago, they just did not have the quality building standards that they have today. So as a result, specifically in terms of flooring, a lot of times our floors are unlevel. Well, that's the case here. To overcome that, what they put down was a laminate flooring. Now, this is an average quality laminate flooring. It does not appear to have a float underneath to catch, to even it out. But it works. They use this flooring throughout the entire house, which is something from an investment standpoint I might not have done. I might have put carpet upstairs with the bedrooms, but that's me. For their purposes to create, and in this particular price point, it works. You have a laminate floor flowing throughout the entire house in the same direction, and it works. All right, so I'll show you a quick picture of the floor. Nothing special there. And we're gonna take another quick peek into the basement. Now, why are we in the basement? We're in the basement for two things. One, they added something that was really cool. As you can probably tell, this home is heated by hot water. This is a hot water baseboard heating system, which means they need a lot of hot water to heat the house. So as opposed to going the traditional route, i.e. pulling the water off of the standard hot water tank, what they added was a tankless water system. That's pretty cool, right?
It was perfect. Perfect. Everything, down to the last minute details.
So this is the new boiler here, and they're pulling water in, and it's pumping water throughout the entire house. Now, here's the thing with boilers. Boilers used to be huge. This sucker's relatively small. They come even smaller. But for our purposes, again, in this particular price range, this works really well. The other thing the investor homeowner had to do was they had to replace all the drain tiles within the house. Again, this is an older house. You can see the light concrete all the way around the exterior of the property. Now, what that means is as water is soaked in from outside and heads towards the house, they have basically a tube to collect the water and send it to the sump pump so that it doesn't pool in the walls and it goes away from the house. They also covered up the walls with insulation, so it'll be a little bit warmer down here. These are not sexy things, but they do improve the overall quality and living ability of this particular property. So we talked about all these investments and all these renovations that the homeowner made. Now here's the question. As an investor, do they add to value? And that's really what we need to ask, right? As a homeowner, do they add to value? That's a great question. Well, yes. So let's talk about the hot water, the boiler, for instance. That boiler there, to replace a boiler, whenever you walk into a house and you feel like you got to replace a boiler, immediately you're thinking $4 to $5 grand. That's just to start. You're probably thinking 6 to 7 if you're uninitiated, but 4 to 5 for anybody in the real estate world. 4 to 5 grand to replace that boiler. To fix a basement leak, think about it. When you walk into a basement and you see some water trickling around in the basement, what's the first thing you think? Mold, mildew, I'm gonna have my basement's gonna be flooded, blah, blah, blah. You got all that fear factor right there.
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
If you got that, that is going to affect your sales price. They took care of this. Probably cost them, usually it's about anywhere between $100 and $150 per linear square foot to add in drain tiles. So you got that cost. Now, was that something that the owners wanted to do? Probably not. But by doing it, they increased the available population of people that may actually purchase this property. Let alone the fact if there are homeowners that did this renovation, they're living here. So now that they can actually use this space as, it's too small for living space, but they can use it as storage space. So it becomes usable there. So in addition to that, they also renovated the home's flooring. Again, floor was wavy. They added laminate flooring to it. Perfect. Now you've removed that problem. You added a new bathroom. They also added a second bathroom on the second floor with the additional 2 bedrooms. So you've increased the number of bathrooms. The bathroom on the second floor is particularly important because you have 2 additional bedrooms up there. So it makes it easy for anybody living up there to, live, right? When you get up in the morning, want to go to the bathroom, you got one right there. You don't have to go from downstairs all the way down to the first floor. That's a great thing. Again, in houses that were 100 years old, there was only 1 bathroom. That was it. 1 bathroom. So by adding the additional bathroom, you've increased the overall functionality of the property. Increasing the overall functionality of the property, again, increases the overall value. We've identified the items that the homeowners did to renovate this particular property. We've identified the fact that these particular renovations were not particularly highest of high ends. Matter of fact, they're probably average grade in most cases, but they were made. And this is an older area with older homes. So how does that affect value? Well, on my quick estimation, again, using homes that have sold the highest in the area, they have had a lot of these similar renovations, but they used very high-end building materials. Matter of fact, those homes were pretty much transformed. They probably don't even look anything like they looked 100 years ago. This home is a little bit different. This home still has its same form factor as it did about 100 years ago. It still has the same or very similar functionality as it did about 100 years ago. But its materials and systems were all upgraded. So that means it's going to be, again, on the closer to the high end, definitely higher than middle end, but not at the top area. You're probably going to look at about a $50,000 difference between the highest priced home in this particular market and this home. And that, by the way, should still place it right around the 225, 200, maybe even 240 mark, which is pretty freaking high when you consider the fact that this is a 100-plus-year-old house in a stable housing market right now. That is pretty significant for this particular property. So there you have it. We've talked about what average grade renovations look like, not updates, but average renovations look like, and their ultimate effect on value. See ya.